Live from Austin, Texas. Welcome to Tate Talks, the podcast where successful business owners go for the latest ideas on sales, marketing, hiring, and success. Get ready. Here is your host, Chris Tate.
Yep.
All right, welcome to the podcast. Special guest today, the first guest of all time. He was the national sales director for one of the biggest fitness brands in the world, a public speaker, master sales and operations coach, Orangetheory Fitness franchisee, Mr. Razzle Dazzle, Mr. Enthusiasm, Manny Talks. Welcome to the show.
Hey, CT, great to be here, man. I didn't even know I had the honor of being your first. This is amazing.
You're the first, maybe the best. I don't know. Like, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, you know, CT, if you're going to go in, you got to go in big, right? I mean, you got to go in with a bang.
Start off with the biggest guest first. Why not?
Well, listen, man, thanks for having me. Excited to be here, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. For those that, aren't familiar with you, kind of give us a little rundown. Who are you?
Oh, boy. How long do we have for this podcast, my friend?
Not that long, but brief overview.
Look, I'll keep it short and very, very, very sweet because I think it's kind of a sweet story, but it's a true story. So my first introduction to the business and to the industry was a personal trainer. I was a personal trainer at my local LA fitness, and I was with this company called Body of Change many, many, many years ago. And that's when this kind of love affair started with fitness. I've always been into fitness, and I've always been into that side of the equation. I wanted to be a part of the solution, not the problem. So I knew fitness was for me. So fast forward a few years, a lot of trial and error, but I found myself as a GM of a big private label gym, 30,000 square feet. I had all the departments, and I did my job. I did my job well. But then I noticed around the corner, there was this new fitness thing coming. It had orange lights in there, and I drove by a couple times. People were in there. I was like, what is this thing? So doing my due diligence, like every other operator does, I drove by, did some homework, and lo and behold, Orangetheory Fitness number 8 out of the whole system was opening up around the corner from my gym. So I did a little more homework. I asked around, found out a friend of mine was coaching, and you know what? I knew there was something there. You just feel it, Chris, right? Just sometimes you just feel it. And I felt this. Mm-hmm. I felt it. I walked in. I interviewed on Monday, interviewed on Tuesday, got hired on Wednesday, and January 1st of 2012, I took over operations as a studio manager of number 0008 in Orangetheory Fitness. And wow. I will just give you a little bit of insight because how do I get to here as a franchisee? It's kind of cool too. So I did work my way through being a studio manager, earned my stripes day to day, night to night. I dreamt in Orange. I mean, this was my thing. And there was a moment, Chris, that I had to make a decision, and not too many people know this. So I actually resigned from Orangetheory Fitness down there in the Weston studio. I resigned. And I think maybe some of your viewers can relate to this, but let me ask you, Chris, have you ever seen a ceiling when you look up?
A ceiling? I'm seeing it right now, man.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it right now, but that's not the one you're talking about.
No, it's not that one. It's the glass ceiling. It's the ceiling that you know is there, but you just can't quite touch. And I knew my ceiling was there, and I resigned from a studio manager. And, the funny story is, Chris, have you ever heard of what it looks like or sound like for an audible gulp? Do you know what that means? An audible gulp.
Like like that?
Yeah, just like that. So when I told my franchisee, hey, I'm leaving, I heard one. So, because I think she knew, like, man, this guy, and I tried everything. I tried to buy in. I tried to do, I want to stay, but there was no doing. So I saw my ceiling. I resigned. And then I got the phone call that changed the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years of my life, my career, and my everything. and I got a call from the CEO, Dave, and he said, "Hey, Manny, look, before you go, come on in. Let's talk about a few things. I have some ideas I want to talk to you about, but before we let great people go, we need to find out if there's something else we can do." And Chris, guess what? He did have an idea. So from there, I took over operations for Fort Lauderdale. I moved my life to Orlando to open up another 35 studios as an area developer, all along knowing that 3 years later, I did want to find a way to come back home, and home I did. And they opened their doors and let me walk in as the director of sales for the brand. And I got to tell you one more thing. I kind of felt another ceiling. And when I felt another ceiling, I just knew that, hey, you know what? Maybe this corporate track is not for me. And the moons aligned, the stars aligned, all that, everything came in focus. And I had the opportunity to come in as a partner to become my very own franchisee, multi-unit franchisee right here in South Florida where it all began. So that's my story.
Let's go. That's awesome, man. And I've known you for a while, probably a little over 10 years now. So I know there's a lot more to that story, which I'm going to try to unpack in bits and pieces here. But I have a question for you, man. Has anyone ever told you that you're very quantum?
You know what? No, that's a new one.
Okay.
And I like where this is going.
Okay, you're what I call a quantum citizen, and I'm going to tell you what that means. Okay. So lately I've been studying about quantum physics, but more so the quantum physics on the side of the law of attraction, which basically says that, everything is made up of the same thing, these particles, right? And they all have these vibrations and waves. And some are more vibrant than others. So when I think about you and they say to people, oh, this guy has a lot of energy. Well, I think, he's just very quantum. So he's putting out these waves and attracting things, right? So, you got a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of personality. You're just very quantum, bro. Like you attract things to come to you, which I feel like got you through this journey and to where you are now. But where do you get that from, man? Like, how do you become you just wake up and you're just like ready to get out of bed and you're just like a delusional optimist kind of person? Like what's the deal here? How do I be like you, man?
Well, listen, man, I got to tell you, I might not have the best answer, but I have an answer. And the glass is and forever will be half full. You're right. I could be delusional sometimes, yes, but there's something else to it. And there's the power of positivity. And I don't know where it came from, but I just can't fake it. It comes from somewhere inside. I don't know if I have a factory somewhere that I got to maybe tap and maybe start selling some of the juice. I don't know. But what I do know is that I choose every single morning, every single day, and every single night. My choice is to have a great attitude. And one of my favorite books was Fish. And I read the book. It's kind of a short read, but ultimately that's the lesson. We all have a choice. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you can choose to drive energy, have excitement, and share it, or you can choose not to.
Absolutely.
And I really think that's what it boils down to. So if you ask me what the secret sauce is, the secret sauce is choice.
Awesome, man. I love that. And I've been trying to get on that wave. I've listened to this guy named Charlie Rocket. He talks about like little winning streaks throughout your day. I don't know if you've heard this guy. He's a lot like Jesse Eichler, who spoke at the last convention.
Yeah.
But he talks about winning streaks. So when you get that first parking spot in the parking, like in the parking structure, winning streak. When you get a coffee for $2.40, all this goodness for $2.40. You kidding me? Winning streak, right? So I love your attitude, man. And I feel like that's probably a big contributor into what got you to where you are now. But on the other side of that, tell me about some hardships along this journey of yours. Where there is ever a time where you were just like, oh man, like I'm down. I don't know if there's any way out of this. I mean, was there ever a time like that for you?
Well, there was a couple. Look, it's not always a hill, right? There's some valleys, and I think we've all been there. Some of the valleys I can think of off the top of my head is like, you know what? It was that moment where I did pour myself into someone else's business because I felt like it was my own. Another thing for some of your viewers, and I hope this kind of rings a bell for some of them as well, is there's a term I keep using for my own teams as I build and develop the people around me, because I just love it, helping people get better, is 2 letters, just 2. It's O dot M dot. It's OM, and that stands for ownership mentality. Now, I've had the privilege and I've had like you said, is just, I attracted an opportunity and I'm so grateful that I did. But I've turned ownership mentality into ownership reality. That was my decision, my choice. And you know what? Here I am. But it started with ownership mentality. So before you can realize anything, you have to visualize it. Visualize something. You want something, get here first and watch the magic happen. You mentioned law of attraction. Big fan, huge fan. Vision board and energy. And I am all about that. But people forget about the most simplistic aspect of the law of attraction is you have it here first, then you get it out here. Awesome. So one of the values that comes to mind is that moment. The moment when I looked at my franchisee's eyes and I said, I am resigning from your business. What I didn't say is, because you're not letting me fly.
Wow. Now, when you resigned,
I was thinking it, but I was feeling it because I felt I was restricted, and that was a low point because I didn't have the next step. But you know what?
Yep.
Things happen for a reason.
I was just going to ask you, did you have that next step kind of teed up, or did you just know that, like, hey, I can't fly, like, let me resign, and I know that just based on my skills and abilities that next step will come and it's going to be bigger? So, truth be told, I had something. Like, I'm not, okay. I'm crazy. I'm not more
stupid.
Calculated than that. Right.
I'm a little out there, but I'm not stupid. So yes, I had the next step already set. I had a great opportunity with a great company, 24-hour fitness down the street. We had a great interview, and I was lined up to take over one of those clubs down there, one of the big deal clubs. But I knew my heart wasn't there. But I had I had that safety net, if you will. But I knew there was something else out there. And sure enough, my phone rang.
It came true. So, you got this, optimism about you, right? And it's getting you in your learning skills along the way. But obviously you gotta learn some things, right? Like, you're a younger guy at that point. Like, this is 10 years ago more, right? So who were some influential people along the way that added to your skill set that helped you along in this journey?
Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't say a name, and the name is Phil Kaplan. Phil Kaplan was one of the owners of the private label gym I referred to earlier, and let me tell you, I never really knew what a mentor was until I met him. And this guy was just so warm and just so smart and just really like a surgeon out there in the fitness business. Like, he can sell membership, but not even sell it. I love that about it. And that's how I cater. That's how I coach my training skills and training events. And I cater to around, don't sell anything. Stop selling. Start solving. If we start solving problems, sales happen. Right? Define the need, fill the need. It really is, when you boil it down, it just gets really kind of simplistic in a way. But Phil Kaplan was one of my first mentors. And then, if I had to pick another one, I would also be remiss if I didn't mention Paul Ryder, who's our senior vice president of operations at Orangetheory Fitness. Very good friend of mine. And when Paul speaks, you listen. And when Paul took me under his wing and kind of coached me on how to work with, in the corporate environment, right? Because I came from the field. I was guns blazing. I was a field guy. I had been there, done that. I had the experience. But Paul's the one that took me under his wing and said, you know what, Manny, here's how it works in here. And I don't know if I'd be here today without him.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Two very good people. I know them myself. Amazing people that, that's great. Give me one skill. I mean, we talk about optimism a lot, right? But what's one skill that you have that got you to where you're at?
One skill. Coaching.
Okay.
Coaching.
Tell me about that.
I think coaching is a skill. I think anybody can be a coach, but not everybody wins championships. And if you're going to be a coach, you want to win the game. And I think the skill that I have that, I've been able to cultivate over many years of experience, and I'm here now, is coaching. I love to coach, and I'm passionate about it. I'd love to see an opportunity and dive right in, and I don't have to schedule a coaching session. We're always coaching. There's coaching moments every day. And I'm just really, really good at taking advantage of them when they come up. So if you're asking me, I'm telling you, I think it's coaching.
Coaching. Awesome. So what is, I'm going to move into some thought questions here. What's one superpower that you wish you had that you could apply to your everyday life?
Yeah. The superpower I'd like to have is how Superman can look in, has X-ray vision. By the way, Superman, best superhero of all time. Please, all your listeners, don't argue. Don't argue. Chris, don't argue. Look, no matter how you cut it, Superman can kick anybody's ass because he can. Okay? But you know how we can see X-ray vision, right? If I had a superpower, I wish I can see what motivates people. I wish I can see X-ray type, if I can see someone and really get the honest and true answer, what is driving this person? That would make me, that's what I want. That's what I'd love to have. Because you know what? If I had that superhero skill, I would never lose a game again.
Wow. How do you go about doing that now? How do you find people's motivation now?
I ask. I ask, and I think that's also a lost art. I think people just assume it's money, right? And that's a poor assumption. That is a poor assumption. And I have a lot of examples to share with you guys. And I don't know how much time we have, but I can tell you right now, money is not the motivation. It's what they're going to do with the money is the real motivation. And I've learned that time and time again. So if someone says, I want to make more money, ask them why. Because I just want more money. Okay, why? I don't know, because I just want more money. Okay, why? I want to just feel more independent. All right, we're cooking now. Why do you want to feel independence? Well, because you know what? I might have grown up with I didn't have this when I was a child, and I want to be independent. I want to be able to provide for my kid. And got it. Your child. Independence. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. And when you find someone's true motivation, the whole game changes. And you become that much more impactful coach for them. Because now you know why they're listening to you.
Absolutely, man. I can't even tell you how many times when I first started, right? I would put out these bounties, right? All right, we get our sales goal. We're going to get $1,000. We're going to split it up. You know what I mean? And what I realized later on is money is a tool, right, to get you to your eventual goal. The goal shouldn't be money. Money is the vehicle to get you to that goal. So well said, man. I feel like there's been a lot of good nuggets. I'm going to I don't know if you listen to Brad Lee, but I'm going to have to drop a bomb on some of these golden nuggets in here, man. That's awesome.
Drop them, brother. Drop them, brother.
What's something that people find out about you 3 months after meeting you that they don't know when they first meet you?
Good one. 3 months later, you know what? I think maybe 3 months later, they realize I'm not full of shit.
Okay.
How about that? Can I use vulgarity on your podcast, Chris?
Absolutely.
You beep it out later. But you know what?
Yeah.
So I come in pretty hot, right? Like, I just took over my 5 studios, and the cool thing is that they heard of me because of my position before. But I came in, man. I didn't come in guns blazing, because my strategy is I listen first and then I act. Right? I listen, sure. I create a plan, I strategize, and then I start talking. Right? But I think in the very beginning, people don't know that. People don't know. People just heard of me. They don't know me. And I think 90 days into it, they start realizing, like, oh man, like, okay, this guy is for real. Like, we have our scheduled calls on Mondays with Manny. We have our leadership meetings on Tuesdays. I get my goals delivered to me daily. Like, whoa, like we're getting organized. We're getting efficient. We're getting productive. Like, okay, this guy might know what he's talking about.
Awesome, man. I think it's like execution on the vision, right? Like, your vision is so big and so out there that it's like people that may think that you're full of shit are people that just are self-doubters, right? So they're like, oh, that's too big of a dream. But then when they see, like, oh, the Mondays with Manny, this goal's coming at me daily, like, oh, it's execution, right? So, like, that's where I feel like people, they have a lot of dreams and goals, but they never execute on those. So they have that self-doubt. So when they see someone like you, they're like, I don't know. And then 3 months down the road, it's like, whoa, this is how we do it. So props, man. Props.
There's a good song. There's a good song about that.
What's
that? Heard that song? This is how we do it. You know that one, man. Come on. We're 90s guys. This is how we do it. Another thing. You know what my secret weapon is? If my superhero strength is visualizing people's motivations, you know what my secret weapon is as a superhero?
What's that?
Music. I spent a few dollars on a boombox, man, and my JBL, it goes everywhere with me. And I sometimes walk in the studio blasting, something, right? Maybe there's some theme music, right? Maybe, I have a competition going on right now. It's like if we have, I'll just tell you, we have something going on right now in my studio. It's called Mission Possible. Not impossible. It's
like that.
Mission Possible. And I won't tell you the details about it because it's a secret. It's a secret mission.
Yep.
But guess what song I walk into all my studios blasting? And it just adds some flavor and put some energy behind it. It gets the people kind of get people riled up, man, in a really good way.
That's so true. Like, I've always felt like, whenever I came out with like goals or I wanted to like start making calls in the studio or like even in the lobby, like music is such a game changer to vibes, man. Like, people get in the mode or they get like amped with music around. Like, it's crazy how that like has an effect on people. Topic that has come up in the news lately: Taco Bell is paying their their managers $100,000 as a new test. Man, what are your thoughts on that?
Who was that? I saw that.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell paying their managers $100,000 a year to start.
Yep.
Well, I think quick gut reaction is I think they just fixed their retention problem. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, look, if you put the numbers to it, how much does it cost to replace a rock star? Like, how do you replace someone who's producing for you? And you can look at the data, right? I mean, it's more than $100,000. So as far as I'm concerned, Taco Bell might be onto something. Like, okay, if I'm not saying overpay, but I'm saying if we really lean in with our leadership pay scale, what else can our leadership ask for? Let's take care of them. Let's get their benefits handled. Let's get their stock options handled. I mean, you're just building an army of loyalty.
Right. 100%.
So that's my quick reaction is I really like it. I mean, I really like the approach.
Yeah, I think the cost of a bad hire, they say at a management level, is about 10 times the yearly salary. So if Taco Bell manager was making about $40,000, dude, like, they're saving a lot of money down the road by doing this. And like you said, retention with customers, retention with employees, it's all there. I think this is the right move. So does that mean that you're going to start paying all your managers $100,000?
Not tomorrow. But you know what?
Okay.
One of the things that I did do when I first walked in was I did a complete review of compensation plans, because if someone is not where they need to be, you make it right. You make it right, and that's a great step as a new owner coming in. That also tells people that, hey, this guy's for real. So, and truth, proof is in the pudding. Can't make this up. A couple of days ago, I had a group training with all of my sales associates, the front desk specialists or front desk operations, and I got everybody in a room. And guess what I did? I actually upped the entire commission program starting January 1st. So
boom.
I get it. I mean, we got to find ways to reward our teams, the ones who are performing, and build that culture of production, right? So let's get away from job and into career. There's jobs out there. I did jobs, and there's nothing wrong with jobs. But the moment you can flip that perspective from, hey, I'm here for a job, versus, oh, there's a career here. Now you're onto something. Now you're really onto something. And kudos to Taco Bell, because they have the means, they have the resources to do something like that. And maybe we're not too far behind.
That's awesome, man. Last question. I know you got to run. What is next for fitness? What's the next evolution here? We saw group training. We're seeing some at-home stuff. By 2030, what will you think has happened in fitness?
You mean 30 years from now? You said 20, 30 years from now?
No, in 2030. So like, let's say
2030.
10 years from now.
Okay, so in 10 years.
Yep.
Good question, man. I would say that what we did in Orangetheory is not going anywhere. So technology and fitness is not going away. I think that, once things get to the next level, I think people will be able to, finding out how else we can track performance. I think that's the next big step. So right now we can slap a heart rate monitor on our arm and go about our day, and now we're getting tracked. But I wonder, if there's something else down the road that can happen. Maybe there's going to be maybe there's an app that just does it on its own. Maybe there's a breakthrough about, how to track performance and heart rate, and how to track, maybe what we're tracking changes. Maybe it's not even heart rate. Maybe it's brain waves. Wow. Maybe we can figure out maybe the right brain wave triggers, elicits a response in the body that creates a response. Maybe we get healthier if we think better. So maybe we track something differently in 10 years. Maybe it's not heart rate anymore.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Always insightful, man. I appreciate you on the podcast, man. Thanks for taking the time. Where can people find you, man?
Oh, thanks, man. And by the way, Mr. Chris Tate, CT, love the podcast, man. Thanks for having me on board. I really enjoyed my time here with you. If anybody wants to hear more of this or more of me, please trust me. It's worth a few minutes here and there. And I'm just getting started in 2020. So www.mannyceara.com. My fun acronym is CEO, Chief Energy Officer. And you can also find me at Manny Ceara on Instagram, Manny Orangetheory on Facebook. And hey, man, shoot me a line. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Well, thanks again, man. And dude, we might have to do a second appearance with you on the podcast. You might have to come in like late season 1 again and drop in again.
All based on feedback, CT. So if your listeners like me and they want to hear more about this, I'd love to come back in, man. So it's all about feedback. I'm ready for it.
Brother. Awesome. Well, thanks, man, and have a good rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, CT. Thanks, everybody. Take care.